Every papaya puree journey begins in the orchard.
Papayas must reach perfect ripeness before harvesting.
Only the best papayas are selected for puree.
Papaya harvesting begins carefully.
Papayas are handled gently to avoid bruising.
Fresh papayas leave the farm.
Papayas travel to the processing factory.
Papayas arrive at the processing plant.
Papaya intake begins. Papayas enter automated processing. Papaya quality control begins immediately.
Papayas are sorted for consistency.
Papaya cleaning process starts. Clean papayas move to peeling. Dry papayas help achieve smooth puree.
Human inspection keeps quality high.
Papaya peeling begins.
Papaya skins are removed efficiently.
Peeled papayas are ready for cutting.
Each papaya is cut open perfectly.
Papaya cores must be cleaned for puree and mousse.
Papaya seeds are removed automatically. Only pure papaya flesh moves forward. Smaller pieces help smooth blending. Papaya enters pulping stage.
Papaya breakdown begins.
Papaya slowly transforms into pulp.
Papaya pulp becomes smoother.
Heat helps create smooth papaya puree.
Pulp reaches uniform consistency.
Papaya texture must meet standards.
Papaya pulp moves for finer processing. Impurities are removed.
Papaya puree becomes silkier.
This is pure papaya puree.
Homogenization ensures perfect texture. Papaya puree is pasteurized for safety. Cooling preserves papaya flavor and color. puree protection is essential.
Papaya puree conditions are monitored.
Each batch undergoes testing.
Papaya puree must meet strict standards. Puree ready for packering.
Papaya puree reaches final stage. Packaging begins. Papaya puree ready to fill. Smooth papaya puree fills each pouch perfectly.
Papaya puree sealed airtight.
Papaya puree moves toward labeling.
Puree packaging gains identity.
Shelf life clearly marked.
Digital inspection ensures quality. Papaya puree gets boxed. Cartons ready for stacking.
Papaya puree prepared for cold storage.
Pallets protected for transport. Papaya puree stored safely. Papaya puree reaches consumers.
Vibrant orange papaya puree stands out.
Papaya puree attracts buyers.
Papaya puree is purchased.
Puree stored at ideal temperature.
Papaya puree is ready to serve.
Papaya puree holds its texture.
Papaya puree becomes a favorite treat. Papaya puree enhances recipes.
Papaya puree, cycle repeats.
Production resumes. Puree hygiene stays strict. Clean environment ensures safety. Machines stay calibrated. Heat levels remain precise.
Papaya puree production never stops.
Storage tanks maintain supply.
Each
best papaya puree pouch must be flawless.
The papaya factory operates in harmony.
Each batch undergoes strict analysis.
Label accuracy is essential.
Puree ready for boxing.
Packaging material prepares. Papaya puree packed neatly. Every carton meets weight standards.
Papaya puree prepared for storage.
Storage optimized.
Large-scale storage organized.
Orders prepared for dispatch.
Puree ready for shipment.
Cold chain distribution begins.
Papaya puree secured. Papaya puree travels to markets. Papaya puree shipped across regions.
Papaya puree enter final distribution.
The papaya puree is unloaded and prepared for sorting by the warehouse team. Papaya puree routed for retail.
Papaya puree reaches local stores.
This is how fresh papayas become smooth orange papaya puree.
Papaya puree packaging continues with precision. Papaya puree pouches are prepared for boxing. Papaya puree cartons take form. Papaya puree cartons are secured for transport. Pallets of papaya puree are organized efficiently.
Papaya puree pallets gain protective stability.
Papaya puree enters temperature-controlled storage.
Papaya puree stays fresh in chilled conditions.
Papaya puree cold chain is continuously monitored.
Papaya puree inventory is digitally tracked.
Papaya puree shipments are prepared.
Papaya puree is ready for dispatch.
Cold transportation ensures papaya puree safety. Papaya puree shipment is locked securely. Papaya puree heads toward distribution centers.
Papaya puree travels long distances.
Papaya puree reaches its distribution point.
Papaya puree enters sorting area.
Papaya puree is routed for delivery.
Papaya puree reaches local retailers.
Papaya puree arrives in stores.
Papaya puree becomes visible to customers.
Papaya puree packaging showcases fresh color.
Papaya puree attracts customer attention.
Papaya puree is purchased.
Papaya puree goes home with the customer.
Papaya puree stays fresh until opened.
Papaya puree is ready for serving.
Papaya puree becomes perfect baby food.
Papaya puree enhances drinks naturally.
Papaya puree becomes a family favorite.
Papaya puree ships to global markets.
Papaya puree enters worldwide logistics.
Papaya puree travels overseas.
Papaya puree continues its cold chain abroad. Papaya puree appears in global stores.
Papaya puree delivers universal appeal.
Papaya puree enhances dishes worldwide.
Papaya puree logistics run with precision.
The viscosity levels are well within the acceptable range here.
And the pH balance confirms the stability.
Papaya puree meets international standards.
Papaya puree production reduces waste. Papaya puree packaging becomes more sustainable. Papaya puree production continues 24/7.
A new day begins for papaya puree production.
Papaya puree follows a precise journey.
The final texture of papaya puree is perfected. Papaya puree packaging stands out.
Papaya puree becomes a trusted choice.
Papaya puree fits into every meal.
Production continues through evening.
Papaya puree quality remains flawless.
From our lush papaya plantations, we use advanced technology to create the finest puree, connecting agriculture to innovation.
Papaya puree production becomes highly efficient. Papaya puree passes every test.
Papaya puree is ready for export.
Papaya puree travels to worldwide markets.
Papaya puree is enjoyed everywhere.
Papaya puree inspires new beverages.
Papaya puree comes in multiple formats.
Papaya puree production never stops.
Papaya puree batch approved.
Papaya puree consistency stays stable.
Papayas transform into smooth puree perfectly.
Papaya puree elevates recipes.
Papaya puree becomes a signature product.
The papaya puree cycle restarts.
Papaya puree production begins again. Papaya puree undergoes total transformation.
Papaya puree technology stays advanced.
Papaya puree flavor stays consistent.
Papaya puree stays fresh at retail. Papaya puree is loved across ages.
Papaya puree fits modern lifestyles.
Papaya puree relies on skilled teamwork. Papaya puree production line stays efficient.
Papaya puree reaches its perfect final form.
Papaya puree becomes a trusted household choice.
Papaya puree connects farms to the world. This is how fresh papayas transform into smooth orange papaya puree.